Do you do much trail running and stuff?
In
Or is
cross
it mostly...
country, we do. I mean, I like
But
trail running. We just, there's not a lot of trails around Hambin.
that's what I've... Yeah.
We take, for cross country, we take the kids up to the city forest a lot, probably like every other week we go up there. Um, this year we went up to Orono once, because my assistant coach goes to school there, so it was a day he could possibly help if we were there, so
Right.
we did that, and that was nice.
There's so many trails.
So many trails. So, I mean, I wish we had more options, and it was a little easier to get to trails, but I enjoy trail running.
Right.
That's what, when I was younger and running, that's all I did is run on the trails. But
I love being in the woods.
yeah,
There just isn't a lot of options out here.
right. There really isn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Easy.
I always found though that her facial expressions looked she looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But she'd just stay in that zone, which was
Right.
always so impressive to me. Like,
Right.
because it is such a mental sport.
It really is.
Like to me, I feel like I'm playing chess when I'm running now. I mean, because I'm constantly like having to
Right.
not think about that, think about this. Don't.
Right.
So let's talk about you running. So you've run marathons.
Yeah.
How did it all start for you? Were you a cross country runner? And
So when I was in 6th grade, my best friend Lindsay told the new health teacher, who was a cross country coach, new to this school, I'm from Presque Isle, that I was a good athlete and that I should run cross country or try cross country. And so she got me to run cross country. The first practice we just ran to like a stop sign and back, which wasn't very far, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm like, this is crazy. And so then the first meet, I think I got like 9th place or something, and I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. And then from there, it just took off, and so I've been running ever since. I was a state champion in high school for 2 years, and I ran in college at Maine.
cross country.
Yeah, cross country. I didn't do. I played basketball in high school, so I did it. We didn't have indoor track actually. I don't know if I would have done indoor track. I was close to the. We were state champions in basketball too when I was a senior, so I don't think I would have done track, but I did outdoor track, and no, I didn't love track. It was never my favorite because I like the trails and stuff.
Right.
But
when were you at Maine? Because I'm thinking we're similar ages.
I graduated from high school in '97, so.
So you were 3 years behind me. Okay. All right. That was just because I don't know if you knew Derek Treadwell.
Yep, I did.
But
actually.
she's just an amazing runner.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I knew him because we were both in high school together.
Yeah.
He was, I think, a year or two ahead of me. But like the Millinocket Marathon race course record, him. You see his name's everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard about him in a long time, but yeah,
right.
no, I know.
Yeah. It just made me think of that you ran.
Yeah.
So you Maine cross country. Was that a big step up from high school running? Like,
yeah, I mean, the jump in mileage, and you know what I mean. It was like because I was on scholarship, it was like a job, right? So like it felt like a job, kind of like I didn't have any other thing to do besides school, and I really enjoyed it, and like the team atmosphere, but I think I was kind of got burnt out and stopped running. Like I think my junior year in college, I don't know, I just wasn't into it anymore.
Right.
It was just too much. So, I mean, I still ran. I just didn't love it.
Right.
And then after I was done college, I would just do it on my own, and I liked it because no one was making me. I didn't have to do it. If I didn't want to run one day, I didn't. And so then when I came to Hamden Academy and started coaching with Mr. Valentine, I kind of got into running more, and now I like it because it's my stress reliever from school and like everything else in the world, and I need it.
I understand.
it's like my addiction, because if I don't do it, I'm a little cranky.
I was just gonna say the same word. I mean, I've literally figured out that I'm an addict. Like it's something I have to have. I can't go without it.
Yeah.
It makes me better. I mean, a lot of addictions are negative. I think
Right.
this was a good one that makes me
Right.
better. But yeah, I can't imagine not having it. So when was your first marathon?
So I did my first marathon. Gosh, when was that? I don't even know. I've only done two,
Okay.
and just I did. I don't even know what year it was, but I ran Sugarloaf 15K, and I found that I liked the longer distances, like that I really liked when I was like running the longer distances. So I was like, I'm gonna sign up for a marathon. So that same year, whatever the year that was, I don't even remember now. I signed up for the main marathon in October, and so
Where's that?
the one in Portland.
Okay. Okay.
And I remember that we had this big cross country race the day before, so I didn't, and it's called the Festival of Champions, and I went to it, but I didn't like cheer. I just kind of like sat and cheered because it's like usually on that day I probably run like 13 miles just running around cheering and stuff, and I was like, I just kind of sat there, and Mr. Ballantyne, he's run lots of marathons, and he kept on telling me that, you'll be fine. Just, when you hit mile 20, that's when you'll have a hard time. And I was like, okay. He told me like about going out slower than I think, and and I trusted him. So, my husband rides bike, and so he was riding his bike with me, and he met me at, I don't know, mile 13 or 14 or
Right.
something, and I'm thinking, how am I ever gonna finish this? Like, and he kept like on the bike, like getting way ahead of me, and I'm like, you gotta go slower. Like, if you're gonna like bike with me, you gotta go slower. It's gonna take me.
Right.
I mean, I remember crossing the bridge that like Falmouth back into Portland, and he was way ahead of me, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna cross this bridge? And this is like kind of near the mile 20, and I was like, okay, I can do it. Mr. Valentine told me like at mile 20, but it was a lot harder than I thought mentally. Like I found like I literally probably walked, I don't know, a good 10 minutes of it because I just felt like I needed to. Like you come out, you do you're in the neighborhoods of Portland, and you come out on the back bay there, and you can see the finish across the bay, but you're like a mile and a half away,
Right.
and that was the worst part. Like, I was like, there's no way I can run that because you have to go all the way around. Like, that part was hard. I remember I walked probably 3 minutes of that, and Ben's like, you can do it. I'm like,
Do you do so? Training wise for you, I mean, obviously cross country sounds like it's quite a bit of running. But when are you a morning runner? Or are you? When
I
do you
would say that
squeeze in?
I would, if I could pick, yeah, I would pick the morning. I'm a morning person. I'd rather get it done.
Yeah.
Like on the weekends, I run in the morning. I mean, sometimes I run in the afternoon just because of like other stuff, but I prefer the mornings. Get out there and get it done. I like to do it by myself. I mean, I do run with people. Like, I have some friends that I run with, but I do enjoy that. But I do like to run by myself, so you can be in your head, and it's a good stress reliever. So.
Yeah, I've never done any meditation, but I feel like running is my meditation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can be alone in my thoughts. I get lost. That's my favorite, is when you're lost in the run. It's just, I'm not even thinking about running. It's just happening.
Yeah.
And my brain's just, whatever's gonna pop into my head pops
Right.
into. Do you run with music?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. It kind of just depends. Even when I have music on, like, I made this marathon playlist for the second marathon I did, and I put music at specific hours because I knew like I would need like more that type of music, and I can't even tell you what music was on there because it just was there. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
it wasn't. Like, I remember a couple songs like that I had, but otherwise than that, I remember where I heard them, but it was 2 songs
Right.
out of the
Right.
many that were on this playlist that I made.
I'm scared to ask what your time was on that one.
That one, so that one I did in, I don't know what the marathon's called, but it's in Biddeford. It finishes at UNE, and it starts in Kennebunkport, whatever one it is. And it's in May. It's right the weekend before Sugarloaf, actually, or after. and it was cold and rainy. It was like 30, 40 degrees.
Right.
Really windy. And I ran 3:25, but they sent us the wrong way, so we ran an extra half mile. And I thought it because I remember taking this weird like out and back thing. We just went like out and back, and I was like, that doesn't seem right, but like I did it. And then when I was like getting to finish, you had to go. Well, a lot of times you stayed on this road, and then you'd cut out to the ocean, and then you kept doing that. And we were in Biddeford Pool, or Fortune Rocks actually, and we were along that stretch, and it was so windy. It was so windy and cold. This is like late, and this is like 23 or 24, and you turn on a road to go down to UNE, and my watch said 26.2, and I'm like, I know we're not near the finish. Like, what the heck?
Right.
And I mean, I knew we were like way, like I knew the finish wasn't close, and I'm like, what on? And I knew that you like there's like going, it's not exact because you have to run through people and stuff, and I get that,
Right,
but I was
right.
like, we are not even near the finish.
Right.
And then when I finished, my husband's like, yeah, they sent you guys the wrong way, so you ran an extra, and people were really mad because like some missed qualifying for Boston, and and
Right. By minutes. Yeah.
right.
Right.
I mean, I like my time qualified me, but like it's still like disappointing. I was hoping to run 3:20, but the time.
Sounds like you were pretty close.
I was probably pretty close, but I like the last. As soon as we turned on that road and I saw that I was out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to be kidding me.
Right.
And it was very cold. Like it took me forever to get warm. I mean, it was just such a yucky, just miserable.
Right.
Miserable day. I wore like my Mr. Valentine told me, because he'd run Boston so many times, he said just put a trash bag, run in a trash bag, because it'll keep you warm enough, but like it'll just shed the water. So I did. I mean, I probably looked like the biggest idiot. So, but yeah. So I've only run 2 marathons, and
are you gonna run Boston?
I qualified for Boston, but I got a stress fracture, so I haven't run it yet.
So you can.
You can't. You have to requalify.
You have to requalify.
Yeah. So I'm gonna run Sugarloaf next May.
What is like the qualifying cutoff?
For my age, I think it's they keep changing. I think it's 3:40.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I should be able to, even if I like don't even train that hard. Like I said, my first marathon, I didn't really even train that hard,
right,
and walked a lot of it. So I think I can do it, but I'm just hoping to run Sugarloaf and like, not get injured. That's my whole goal.
Right.
Is like
right.
Winter running is hard on the body.
Yes. What injuries have you kind of had to deal with? You said stress fracture, but
yeah, I mean most of it is like because of the uneven ground, my hips get out of line, and then
that's the one thing about the roads around. I guess it's probably a main thing, but
yeah,
you're constantly running with one foot higher than the other.
Right, and I don't treadmill run. I do once in a while, but I really hate treadmill running.
I did it today, and I was like,
yeah, I can do about 3 miles on the treadmill, and like I find that every like 2 minutes, I'll just keep pushing it to go faster, just so I can get done the 3 miles. Because I just, I've tried like listening to music or like watching a show, but I just get bored. So
yeah. The only thing I've liked about it is I could, at least last year, I did quite a bit last year, and I was paying attention to my heart rate, and I could see my improvement. That's the one thing I liked.
Yeah.
So like I could see, I'm doing 6.3 at the heart rate, where I was a 6.2 a week ago. So I could see improvement. Where on the road it's much harder because conditions change.
Right.
But I so much prefer to be out on the road.
Right, yeah.
As dangerous as it is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to push my distance to see where my body, like I keep trying, like, my body now can handle 26.
Yeah.
Well, what else can I handle?
Right.
And I've done 100K was my most recent distance, and I'm trying to see like what's too much running, how to know when to back off, when to push more.
Right.
HRV, I don't know if you do that at all, heart rate variability.
I don't. I know people do.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Like,
not really.
Kind of like, apparently like when your heart is most rested, it has a very uneven heart rate. The
Yeah.
heart rate has a lot of variability, and then when you're stressed, it's more like when you're running, it's more of a consistent on
Yeah,
the beat.
yeah.
So it's measuring how you measure at the same time, like every morning, and it measures. So if you've overworked yourself, then you'll have more of a consistent beat,
Yeah.
which tells you maybe you should be taking a rest day.
Right.
So at least, because I'm one that there's times where it's. So for instance, my cousin and I are on the same kind of path. We're trying to push our distances, and we found like 30-20 back-to-backs are like. We run a 30-miler, and then you go to run the 20 the next day, and it's like you have no fast twitch muscles whatsoever left.
Yeah.
You're just running on your
Yeah.
and I find it actually is reasonably comfortable, but it's just incredibly slow. Like
Right.
you're like, oh, I'm running
Yeah.
an 8-minute pace, and you look, it's like 12. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
And but I'm one that wants to push myself constantly,
Yeah.
and I need something to tell me, okay, back off.
Right.
So I've been relying on that to try to not injure myself, not to overtrain. But that's a hard thing.
It is a hard thing.
Yeah, because I do love it. I love, and then it's time commitment. That's the other thing about these longer distance things. It just takes so much time.
Right.
What kind of mileage do you when you're kind of ramping up towards your marathons?
I'll probably have some 60s, 70s is probably the highest I'll go.
For a week.
Yeah, for a week. Yeah. And I hope they're timed when like I'm not busy at school.
Right.
I obviously put the long runs on the Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
But I know that sometimes there's like some 8-10s in the middle of the week. Sometimes I would maybe try and split them up just because of time, but and we're at the mercy of the sunlight also. I mean, I can run, but I would never want to run like 10 in the dark. Like 3 or 4, 5 maybe is all right, but I just don't like it.
It's so hard because mornings are dark. After work's dark.
Right. Right.
The days get so short.
So I am lucky that I get out of school
Right.
and that's when I go.
Right.
But not all the time because life gets in the way and I unfortunately can't.
Right. Another big thing for me that's helped me a lot is stretching, which I've never been one to stretch. Like in the last couple of years, getting into yoga, and that's kind of how we ended in your Payo class.
Right.
I'm guessing that's something that you've.
Yeah, I picked up the class because I am not a good stretcher. Truthfully, I mean, runners are not good stretchers. We have really tight hamstrings. Like I remember, like I look at my boys. I'm trying to touch their toes, and I just laugh. I'm like, and so it's important that stretching is important. I mean, I don't do it as much as I should, because of life, but and like without this exercise class, without my Payo class, I don't do it, but I did really enjoy it, and it did help my flexibility in my running. Now I've kind of I've got into like more like strength stuff, like lift, not big weights, just toning stuff, and I've kind of enjoyed that because it's just something different,
Right.
like a different path.
Right. Yeah, my so Caitlin's older brother Jeff is a physical therapist, and every time I hurt myself or get a little thing, I'll stretch this, stretch that, and eventually it was like, maybe I should be stretching more to prevent injuries instead of coming to you after. He's like, yeah.
Probably.
I've stumbled into yin yoga. Do you know what yin yoga is? So it's just, so to me, like I do yoga, but it's a workout too.
Right.
I mean, yoga,
Right,
your
right.
Payo class,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not easy.
Right.
Yin yoga is more like getting into a stretch and just holding for like 3 minutes.
Right.
But it's not like you're in downward dog for 3
Right.
minutes. You're in just like a lunge pose and just holding it.
Yeah.
Which apparently gets to the deeper tissues by holding it longer too. But I do enough working out in different things, especially when I was doing triathlon.
Right.
I'm running, swimming, and biking
Right.
all the time. So it's fun. It's more. I find it more relaxing, and it's kind of meditative where you're just holding the pose and paying attention to how your body feels. But that's made a huge difference. Just I am so inflexible, and to finally be addressing that, I've definitely noticed the lack. My injuries have gone way down since.
Right. That's super important.
Yeah. Are you gonna do the Payo class again? I haven't even paid attention with the adults.
Yeah, no, I mean right now we can't really have classes inside and they have to be masked, so it doesn't I mean, so right now, no. I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was cool. Dee and I are always trying to find things to do, and I used to, I taught for a little while. I taught in adult ed, I taught math, art, financial literacy,
Yeah.
whatever we needed. But I was kind of like full time
Yeah.
during the day adult ed and by
Yeah.
sport, which
Yeah.
is different than most adult eds. But I always feel like that's such a great thing to try to support.
Right.
You know, because it's such a great tool. It's not used enough
Right.
for people.
Right.
And we stumble onto yours, and Dee and I are always trying to find things to do together.
Right. Oh, that's nice. I
And-
know, like maybe my first mail that I ever
Well, like,
made.
I come in here, I'm like, oh, I'm the only male. Not really surprised.
Yeah.
But I love that stuff. If anything, I'd say males could really use it too.
No, I
you
know. Yeah, I agree.
Or two, or a month, or I'm eating just lots of crap, and I just feel so sluggish
Yeah.
and feel. And imagine that's your life.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't know different though, so they
Right.
so they don't.
Right. I wish I could share that more.
Yeah.
Physical fitness, and there's definitely a connection, I think, between, we talked about meditation, but between physical and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know my favorite runs are always the runs where I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to run today, and I make myself do it, and
Yeah.
I get it, and I
Yeah.
get done, and I feel like I accomplished something,
Right.
and my day feels better. I wish there's more of that, even with, especially with the COVID and everything, with
Right.
obesity.
Right.
It's-
No, it's crazy.